Rekkles going to LFL. Yeah, that's absolutely crazy.
It's very weird that this would happen.
He was a really strong individually performing player for.
In a shocking move to many people in the community, legendary AD Carry Rekkles will be playing for Team Karmine Corp in the 2022 season, actually moving away from the LEC and spending some time in the LFL. Now, although it's not likely that he'll be there for very long in my opinion, this is still an incredibly interesting move by the player. Many consider this extremely risky for his career, and some might say he's even better off not playing. But in some ways, I think this could be a really great long-term move for Rekkles overall. This is partially me playing the advocate here and understanding that there is potentially some light to this situation, even though on the outside, not many people may think so. So why the move? Although nobody has officially confirmed the rationale for why Rekkles has committed to Karmine Corp for the 2022 season, many have assumed the reason for this being that Rekkles didn't have many other options. This is likely due to the complications with this latest offseason, and with Rekkles being a part of the wave of major players that did not get an opportunity, it was very hard for someone like him to get on a competitive team with the unimaginable price tag and messy logistics. We've seen many players be in this situation, and although Rekkles can be considered happy to be able to show himself on a team yet again, I'm sure there are many fans of the player that weren't anticipating his next showing to be on the LFL instead of the LEC. Although it does appear that he's on a good 500k salary to play on KCorp, the more stressing issue is the perception that with this move, Rekkles has nothing to gain and basically everything to lose. You've been one of the top, if not the top AD carry player for basically the entirety of the existence of European League of Legends. The immediate expectation coming into the new season is that he's just going to need to stomp every single team, claim your EU Masters victory, and then move on. However, I don't actually think the game is that simple in League, especially in today's metagame, and this is where a lot of the speculation that this is a risky move comes into play.
Rekkles wants to win Worlds. He said it multiple times. He says he won't retire till he wins Worlds, yeah? Then he joins an ERL team. At best, he can win. At best, he can win EU Masters, yeah? But even if you win EU Masters, is that a success? What is it? Like the risk value versus the return value is terrible for going to an ERL team, right? You can't even go to Worlds. So, and he can't. And I can't. It's not and I will. He just can't, man. If he doesn't win EU Masters, it's a failure. And if he wins EU Masters, it's an, oh well, I mean, if he didn't do it, I'd be surprised, right? Like,
KCorp brings up a good point here. Rekkles is a world-class AD carry, and with this move, it's literally impossible for him to even win. The highest result he can achieve on this team is to win EU Masters, and then kind of to just take that and run. If he doesn't do well, that can have some major implications on his future prospects for teams. There's one potential saving grace here though that could give Rekkles some benefits here, and that's kind of to gain perspective and understand what it takes to perform at the top level again. Now this is where it gets crazy because a lot of you are going to immediately say, well, nah, you're just wrong. But I think these next couple of clips can kind of provide some context here.
I also think a big problem for me this spring was that I didn't speak up ever about things that I had on my mind. I feel like this happened naturally, but I came into the team thinking that if I just stay out of their way, because they have the winner's recipe and I have the loser's recipe, then we're gonna be fine. But obviously perks brought a lot to the team, and if I then bring nothing, then there's a big hole. Because I saw things that I didn't like, for example, but because they have been winning every single split, I just kind of didn't say anything, which is in hindsight wrong. But then and there it felt right, because again I came in as the loser and they were the winners, and also we had like a pretty good regular season.
Based on how Rekkles' experience was on G2, it appears that he honestly got lost in his sense and how he specifically sees a top performing team. I can understand why, because you just assume on an organization as regionally successful as G2, you can kind of just cruise and let them do their thing because their thing has been winning. However, this actually backfired in the end, costing G2 a pretty lackluster season all things considered, and left Rekkles in this awkward situation. I'd even go as far as to say, as a player whose main career aspiration right now is to take home the prize and win the World Championship, he's kind of plateaued in terms of his capabilities on the main stage, G2 or not. So in a way, this move can be interpreted as sort of a reset for Rekkles, a way for him to kind of recalibrate and take the right steps to achieve the highest level of play yet again. I would parallel this to players climbing to Challenger on multiple accounts just so they can keep understanding the process of what it takes to reach the top. This is kind of the same move from Rekkles, where by going to an up-and-coming or a smaller team, attempting to holistically learn how the game functions again, and then regain and even potentially enhance his sense of what it takes to reach the top. Of course, the risks are undeniable, and it's quite possible I'm on an extra dose of hopium for the player, but it's really hard to say much about the move otherwise. Rekkles has always to me struck as a true competitor, and not someone who's simply willing to take a year off and stream or something like that. I'm sure he'd be incredibly popular and successful as a streamer, but I feel like that's not where his drive and motivation for the game lies, so I for one actually really like this move. Hopefully I provided some insight to the otherwise crazy situations we've seen ourselves in this offseason, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay fresh.